All right. So today I'm going to talk about development and learning. And I'm starting the talk, and after me the other occupational therapists are going to speak. And they are going to go into more detail. So what I'm really doing now is laying the foundation. But if you listen to the previous doctor, you will hear some similar stuff. So I think when we talk about development, you guys there's a difference between development and there's a difference between learning. So development starts with conception already. So this little fetus starts to develop, and then it's a baby. But then it doesn't start, development doesn't stop when this baby gets out of our stomach. We know that this baby is getting bigger. It turns into a toddler, and then it turns into a teenager. And development happens until the day we die. So it's a natural process. That is the way we don't sit before we we sit before we crawl, but we don't start to walk and then we sit. So it's something that's innate in us. We don't sit there in front of our child and we do stuff and then suddenly they start eating. It's innate in us. But then on the other side, we get learning. Then the learning starts. I just want to say I don't really believe that learning starts at birth, because I do think learning can start in utero already. But then simultaneously from development, we have a process where we learn. We learn about our world. We learn about ourselves. We learn what happens in the world. And that happens in a variety of activities. It's not just one activity. It's while we engage with people, while we engage with our family, while a child plays, while a child baths, they play in the mud. And all these activities and all these interactions, it teaches us something about the world. Okay, and that's important to know. I gave you this triangle because what we are really about now, we've talked about visual impairment and stuff, but all of us are parents and we have children. And we want our children not just to grow up, but we want our children to be able to go out into the world, make something of themselves, and be the best version of who they are. But in the end, to get to the top, there's stuff that needs to happen here at the bottom. And now we have a child with a visual impairment, and now we work with a vision system that isn't working like it should be or like we want it to be. So what are we going to do to ensure that our child is getting enough opportunities so that they not only learn, but like the doctor said previously, the brain, everything is connected, so that brain that is such a marvelous thing can take over some of the other functions that they don't have the benefit of because of the visual impairment, if I can say it something like that. So what can we as parents do? Okay. So this process of learning and development, if you just remember one thing today, it's dependent on a mutual, satisfying interaction between your child and you, between your child and the environment, and between the child and play. So learning takes place within interaction. We cannot have a child in the corner and think he's going to learn something. We cannot hide him. We cannot put him in a playpen. We cannot take away experiences from him and think this child is going to grow up and know what to do. Learning takes place within the environment, but with the help of the parents. Okay, so I'm not going to talk there. So now we know, okay, the visual system is not functioning properly. And our visual system is such a strong system because that is the system where if you see a little baby, they see something on the floor, they bend down and they pick stuff up. Or they hear a voice and they look up and they turn around. So now we perhaps don't have that benefit. So what are we going to do? So there's lots of other systems that we can utilize to work around that. And research has shown that lots of tactile information through your hands, your kinesthetic stimulation, it's the stuff that comes through your body, through movement. I wrote vocal but auditory. We're going to tap into those systems. And you are going to tap into those systems for the benefit of your child. Okay, I think it's very important to know that you as the caregiver, the mommy, the daddy, it's your love that's going to grow your child's brain. And you are the one that's going to create the feeling of comfort, of communication during your interaction. And how are you going to do it? It's by really, really touching your baby a lot, by hugging, by patting, by stroking, and by talking to your child. Remember I said that research said we're doing it through the tactile and the kinesthetic stuff. So you are going to touch and feel your baby. Just want to get this up. It's not my computer. Because these mutual interactions and all these activities where you engage, where you actively engage with your baby, it stimulates curiosity. So a child that's visually impaired, because they don't see what's happening around them, if I don't see somebody walking past me, I'm not going to look up and turn. Or if I do not see, oh, there's something shiny on the floor, I don't want to, then I'm not going to crawl to it. So you are going to become the agent where you interact so much with your child so that your child becomes curious about what's happening in his environment. And by speaking and by engaging with your child, you are actually teaching him language. Because if you do not talk to him, and if you in the kitchen and you don't say, oh, mommy is going to make a cup of tea, how is he going to learn those words and what's happening within the kitchen or what's happening within the bathroom? A child with sight can see, oh, here mommy is opening the cupboard. Oh, mommy is taking out this. Oh, we are going to eat spaghetti bolognese because there's the pasta and the meat. But the child that doesn't have eyes or can't utilize their eyes optimally can't see it. So you have to say, look, we are going to eat spaghetti bolognese today. I'm taking out the pasta. Can you hear the pasta? Do you get what I'm saying? Hey? And by doing that, and just the way you engage with your child will motivate this child to explore further and to wonder what's also in my environment. And all these increased opportunities to explore permits this child to now gain control over their body movements, to refine their actions and gain a deeper understanding of their world. I think it's important also to note that we are social beings. So now a child with a visual impairment, now you look at your baby and you are making smiling faces and stuff. And now this baby perhaps can't see this. And now you can perhaps feel, oh, but my child doesn't like me, or, oh, I've got a very shy child because they don't reciprocate all this cooing and laughing and stuff, but they just couldn't see it. So please do not stop. It's not that your child's not interested in you, and so don't retreat. You must just do more cooing and kissing and cuddling so that child knows, but this is my mommy and my daddy loves me. So it's So I think you get the gist of it. You must just do it more and say it more and let them feel it more, because just because they can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So your role will be to look for other indicators of pleasure, and then also to just search different ways to generate these responses other than waiting for a visual cue that your child enjoys your interaction. Okay. Then we've touched on it. So our skin is our biggest organ. So it's our biggest organ, and that is why we're going to use the skin to tell the baby where he is in space and where is his eyes and his feet, and remember this thing. Just by doing this, we are working on this section. We're laying the foundation for this baby to develop all these other milestones, so that eventually when they get into class, they are ready to learn. All right, sometimes at my school, I evaluate children, and then I think, you know what? The visual impairment isn't the biggest impairment here. It's the fact that this child was never allowed to move. They weren't allowed to explore. I struggle then with their fine motor development. I struggle to get them on the braille machine. They struggle doing stairs. It's not because they don't have the muscles or they don't have the strength, they have it, but because we've missed so much other stuff. They don't know where they are in space. And that's why we're talking about skin and movement now. So when you know that you have your little baby and you play all those little games all around the corner, where's your little eye, where's your little eye, you know, those kind of stuff. Or pat a cake, or this little piggy went to market. Those type of games, you will have to play a lot with your baby. You have to massage your baby. You have to engage your baby during mealtime so that they play with you. Bake cookies. I could remember this, my husband, when mine is now 15 and 13, and there was it was purple cupcakes, and then there was specials, and then we would buy 10 of those packets. I think we had Barney cupcakes every second day, because it wasn't about the cupcake, it was about the stirring, it was about the tasting, it's about the connection, it's about making memories and being together. It's by doing stuff that you are going to get your baby or your toddler ready for school. Okay, we've said that. Okay, and then obviously most of us work, we don't have time, and the moment I also have a special needs child, and if the therapists tell me, Marlene, you have to do this 3 times a day, I'm not a good one for that. I never did the homework. So I'm always, so I know people are busy and people are tired. So you are not going to have an hour in the day where you quickly going to do all this stuff that all these OTs are going to tell you. You're going to use your daily routines, stuff that you already do, and you are just going to use that to create an opportunity where you can do something extra. So we've already talked about preparing food. Get your child to touch the carrots, or to say let's go back to the pasta. So when the pasta is raw, can you hear it makes a snap sound? It's hard, but we've cooked it now. Now it's pop and stringy, and it feels, you get the gist of it. So use your meal times. I also think a lovely time for development is changing a nappy. For you guys with the babies, to roll them over, to get the feeling of movement, to bring the legs up and down. Or if you, during bath times, to not just wash him quickly with the soap, but get sponges, get lotions and potions, and wrap them up in the towel by just adding all those layers and layers of different textures and stuff that you do and moving over the body. We get to that skin. And I know it sounds very silly, but the more input you give through the skin and the more you massage that skin, you are actually sending signals to the brain that tell that baby, okay, my head is actually on top or at the top. It's not, I'm not walking on my head. Oh, I actually have fingers, but my fingers is at the far end while my shoulders are here. Oh, my stomach is below my head. So in a way, you are telling that baby where he is in space, where his limbs are in space, so that when they have to move later or learn braille later, they know where's up, where's down, where's left, where's right. Or if they go to orientation and mobility, and she says you have to turn left, then they know this is left and that is right. So that is what you are doing in your interactions. So never think you're doing something silly. Sleep time, I think, is a wonderful time to really go into stories. Read to your child. And I can remember, there's my husband, my youngest child, he gets a story even today. Every night it's their ritual. And if you don't have books or if you can't read, I know the most silly stories where if we made up stories about the nephews, you know, you've got the grumpy grandfather and you thought, oh, here comes Uncle Opa Peter. He's so grumpy again today. And then it's giggles, giggles, giggles. So that is how you build, because you have to build language. You have to build, you are the ones that's going to have to fill your child with information and prepare him for a more formal type of school or situation and for the world. The doctor previously also just said that, remember, a child that's visually impaired struggles with spatial awareness. And I've given lots of opportunities or examples of how you are going to develop it. But you are going to develop it by moving around. If you do not allow your child to crawl, to walk, they have to bump their head, they have to fall off the couch, they have to be able to crawl under a table and hit their head to know, but I'm actually bigger than the chair. Or if I go on and I go down there, there's a difference in height. That's how you are going to help your child to learn what is space. There's far space, but there's near space. And so they will use their movement to clarify what's happening in their environment and what is shapes and what is sizes and what is amounts of stuff. Because I promise you, one of the difficulties that we see in school is struggle. The children struggle with mathematics because it's difficult to measure and stuff. So allow your child to engage in the environment so that they get all that information that they can't get from their eyes. Then I think we talked about those stuff. I'm not going to go there. Then I want to talk about the hands. So the hands, your hands, or the children with visual impairment, the hand development is very important because you're going to use your hand to feel the properties of stuff. If I can't see, I need to know if I touch this is a round circle, or this is my bowl, or this is my spoon, or this is this or that. So we have to use our hands. So your hands is going to be your instrument to investigate stuff. So give them the opportunity to use their hands. I always had a little suitcase, and in that suitcase I threw lots of odd stuff so that when we get to some place, my children could open it. And it's a nice thing if you go and you travel, because you can keep on putting different stuff in, and you just want that child to feel the properties, to stretch it and to see what they can do with their hands. Because with those hands, we have to develop the tactile discrimination at the tips of the hands if you are going to end up with a child that needs to learn Braille. I think for our next session, we will get somebody here to come talk about it, because it opens up a whole world for a child that cannot see. Obviously, we see sometimes other children. We do in our school. We have children that use Braille, but then also children that read. But you still need to use your fingertips. So that's really, really important. And then I just want to say something about language. We also talked about it. Remember, you have to think about your baby's brain like it's like a library. So there's shelves in that brain, and the shelves are open. And every experience and every interaction that you do, you are actually putting a book on the shelves, and you are filling that library. So the more interactions, the more opportunities, the more engagement, the more you allow them to be in their world, you start to stack the shelves, and you stack that library, so that they just have this wide variety of options available to them when they get to formal school, or when they get to where they need to be. I think there's lots of other stuff, but I think it's important if the other OTs after me also talk, and then you guys can ask questions, because so that we get to the nitty-gritty of everything. But remember, the visual impaired baby or child should learn that in their own way they can do many things. They can function in their own way at a chosen space, and explore their own individual interest for their own purpose. And every time, I love this picture, because every time a child experiences something, it's theirs, it's their knowledge, it's their experience, they can't move back. So I think if you just remember today, expose your child to the world, do stuff with them, talk to them, love them, cuddle them, use lots of movement and lots of skin. So lots of hugs and kisses. So that was thank you.